for them.
And without Kylie Miller, 5'11" senior transfer from UCLA, started the beginning of the season at the setting position, and she will be out once again. She has missed 8 out of the last 10. Purdue will be in their home white uniforms, and we are set to go. Best 3 out of 5 sets. Thanks for joining us on part of your Sunday afternoon. Purdue coming off wins over Nebraska and their arch rival Indiana, that off the top of the block. And there's going to be a net violation called against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Number 20, Adana Rollins on the outside, the 6-foot sophomore out of Carrollton, Texas.
Minnesota goes right to Stephanie Samity. Purdue's really worked on a defense to slow her down, able to come up with that first point.
That ball cut nicely and softly inside the block by the aforementioned Adana Rollins.
Serving for Minnesota, number
85th meeting all time in the series. Goes all the way back to 1975. The Gophers lead the Boilermakers with 53 wins. Mentioned the first meeting, won 3 sets to none in Minneapolis by the Golden Gophers, 3 sets to none. Nice dig by McGraw after the rip off the perimeter by Newton, who you mentioned right before first serve. Pittman is blocked. Pittman is done. Rollins tucking the ball down the line, but just wide. And Holly, was that ball in or out? We've got a unique perspective here.
Had a fantastic view, just wide. How about number 19, Jenna Otek, coming up with a huge dig.
Jenna Otek, 5'10" junior out of Capital City, Missouri, the starting libero, wearing the black jersey, back to serve, averaging over 4 digs per contest. That ball left a little bit inside. Want to talk to you after this point about the setting situation. Nice hit off the top of the block by Cleveland. Take us through the setting rotation for the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the challenges that it's forced them to play a different system. They've gone to some 6-2, but the injuries to Miller have been huge.
Well, because Minnesota is using a freshman setter, they started the season with Kylie Miller, a transfer from UCLA, but Bailey McMenamin has stepped into that role. She's not as tall as Kylie Miller or dynamic at the net, so at times when they're in that 4-2 situation and the setters in the front row for Minnesota, they've been stuck. It's really important to get out of that rotation, or Hugh McCutcheon, the head coach from Minnesota, will use a sub and get a big block in the front row and use a back row setter.
Very nice start here by Purdue. Reagan Pittman, 6'5" redshirt junior out of Spring Hill, Kansas. Gets the side out. Pittman, wearing number 21 in maroon, hits over 370 on the year. This is Stephanie Samity. Had 21 kills in the first meeting between these two teams. Minnesota coming off a win 3-2 over Ohio State earlier this week. Nice tip over the top of the block. Really nice selection that time by Grace Cleveland, 6'3" sophomore out of Bloomington, Illinois.
Grace Cleveland gets to this ball, and she's established power. That little short shot works perfectly when the defender's on their heels.
Just underway, Purdue leading at 5-2. Another sellout crowd here at Holloway. The friendly confines, that is if you're wearing a white uniform, that ball hit out of bounds, but a net violation is going to be called against Blake Moeller, the 6'2" redshirt senior out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
In Minnesota running that 6'2", Tamara DeLonga and Irie Miyabe on the court for Minnesota right now.
Well, crack down the line, beautiful connection. Haley Bush, the 5'10" redshirt sophomore out of Union, Kentucky, wearing number 2. That is a perfect delivery.
And how about Blake Moeller? She goes up, the power down the line, impressive for Purdue.
Purdue head coach Dave Shondell, now in his 17th year. I watched his press conference on YouTube, and he was really effusive in his praise of Haley Bush, the way she had played, particularly in the upset of Nebraska. There is Coach Shondell, 24-9 last year, 12-8 in the conference, a second-round loss to Kentucky. The Boilermakers, on their hottest streak so far of the season, have won 4 in a row, and again, to reemphasize, one of those over Nebraska. Nice swing off the top of the block by Alexis Hart. Hugh McCutcheon. Boy, time flies. Already in his 8th season in Minneapolis for the Golden Gophers and was inducted into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame in 2018. Led the American men to a gold medal at the Beijing Olympic Games and the American women 4 years later to a silver medal in London. Both teams handling the ball pretty well early, Holly. And nice swing over the top of the block. Emma Ellis, 6'2" freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, putting the ball over the top, wearing number 12 in white.
And if Purdue can stay in system, Ellis can be tough to stop, really good when she gets that fastball out to the pin.
Very easy serve. Cece McGraw, the libero, dives in and takes control of that. Ellis up off the block into the antenna. Talked about the absence once again of Kylie Miller, out with a concussion, still going through the protocol. But what about middle blocker Taylor Morgan, redshirt senior, lots of experience, honorable mention All-American. How much of a loss is that for Minnesota?
It's a huge loss, and she went out in the third set of their last match. So they've been dealing with it, but that's a blow. You want to get everybody healthy, especially at the tail end of conference play when it's so important to get wins.
Good touch on the outside by number 19, Hart, and in transition, that ball ripped down the line. And we spoke with Coach Dave Shondell about what he wanted to do in terms of his blocking tactics against Samity. Take us through it.
Well, Marissa Hornung, the libero right now for Purdue, said, hey, let's move the block in, block her angle, and I will stand on the line and dig it. But unable to stop her on that last play. Look at Coutinho. She is so quick side to side. Her speed can really hurt teams. This is a nice connection, and Bush feeding her hitters in pretty spots right now.
And credit to the Purdue Boilermakers receivers, keeping them in system. Nice touch there by Horner. And Cleveland tries to tuck it down the line, but missed that. Out of bounds into the antenna.
Hornung does a great job calling everybody off that free ball, stepping in and taking that first contact. Right now, Purdue, huge area of court to cover for two passers right now.
Rachel Kilkelly, defensive specialist on the floor. Timing not there, chance here. Nice first contact by McGraw. Rollins with a stab out to Samity. And cannot close off the cross court. Stephanie Samity registering the kill, averaging 3.6 kills per set. Sixth best in the Big Ten Conference. Hitting 245, hit 284 last year when she was a first-team All-American. It's probably got to go back to the setting. Boy, McGraw in perfect position. That ball dug, but out of bounds, missed by Bush. Talk about Bailey McMiniman, wearing number 13 in maroon for Minnesota, did not play 1 point last season for Hugh McCutcheon and the Golden Gophers. Not 1 point.
Interesting, they had an All-American setter who never left the court, so she did not get a chance, but she was in the gym watching, getting reps with all these hitters.
Not the same, as you well know.
I agree.
McGraw putting on a show early defensively. Nicely done. Change of pace. Good stab by Ellis. That ball out of the back row, and that's going to be a 3-meter violation. Easy play to call. Caitlin Newton, the 6'1" junior out of Terre Haute, violated the 3-meter line. There is Kylie Miller out of Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Right down the middle, paid off with an ace.
5-0 run here for Minnesota. Nicely done on the slide.
Shavonna Coutinho is so dynamic. I love her high contact point. Haley Bush very confident setting this back set, and then the sharp angle beating the Minnesota block in the cross court.
Does that help, establishing the slide, help to free up the wings that you talked about for Purdue early? Nice service winner here. Jenna Otek, 5'10" junior out of Crystal City, Missouri, now playing at the defensive, DS. But back to the wings. Does the slide open things up?
Yes, absolutely. Anytime you can run your middles, it's going to open up your pin hitters because the other team needs to honor the middle attackers.
Well, Minnesota right on target right now with its receiving. Nice play by Horner. And that ball missed out of bounds. McMiniman and Samity not on the same page. And so after a 5-0 run by Minnesota, Purdue comes right back with a 3-0 run of their own.
Offensive rhythm just a little bit lacking on that last attack play. Ball set inside, and Samity couldn't get on top of it.
Another perfect pass and nice looking offense to the outside to Rollins, number 20. Honorable mention All-American last year when she was second team All Big Ten.
Grace Cleveland is a great right side blocker, and she is wide trying to take the line away. Coutinho a little bit late closing that block.
There's the libero, CeCe McGraw, back to serve for the Golden Gophers. Nice dig by McGraw. Boy, does she stand in. Free ball coming and shanked out of bounds. So you hit it at McGraw, 75 miles an hour, no problem, but she shanks that one out of bounds.
Yeah, a little bit of adrenaline there. Tried to put some spin and take it deep.
Deep serve and nicely left that time by Kilkelly, along with CeCe McGraw, and we're tied at 13. Remember, best 3 out of 5 sets, first 4 sets to 25 points, must win by 2.
Purdue, Otek and Hornung passing most of the court. Newton just taking a little sliver on her left side.
Right side to Cleveland and rattles that ball through the block off of Rollins. Grace Cleveland off to a very nice start, and after really struggling in a loss at Nebraska, Cleveland has come back 12 kills on 19 swings against Indiana, 13 kills against Nebraska, 18 out of 25 against Iowa, hitting .470 over the last 3. That'll win you a lot of matches. Reagan Pittman on the one-footed takeoff, number 21 for Minnesota, able to put the ball away.
Reagan Pittman has been hot for Minnesota. She's the Big Ten reigning defensive player of the week, but she's been good on both sides of the ball.
Hitting .371 so far on the year, 4th most efficient in the conference. Tied at 14. Good read by Minnesota, and what a nice delivery quickly in transition. Bailey McMenamin finding Reagan Pittman in the middle. We'll take the media timeout. Minnesota on top by 1. College volleyball out of the Big Ten. Purdue trailing Minnesota by 1. And Holly McPeak, let's show everybody at home how Minnesota got quickly ahead at the media timeout.
Starts with a pretty good serve, but Haley Bush, the setter for Purdue, attacking that ball, but Moeller was going on the slide in a quick transition to the middle. Scored Minnesota that ball.
I gave McMenamin the credit for that very, very nice timely set, but that was Tamara Delonga, the 5'8" freshman out of Croatia, coming in from Minnesota wearing number 1 in white, as 1 in maroon, as Caitlin Newton will go back to serve. Both teams doing a good job offensively. Purdue hitting .381, Minnesota at .304. Purdue way over their season average. I'll get that for you in a second. Nice hustle and save by the Golden Gophers. Free ball, not a perfect pass. And through the block and down, nice play off the right side by Aire Mayabe, 6-foot junior out of Osaka.
How about this hustle? One arm stab to keep it alive, and Minnesota just wants to keep it in play and let their defense score. Look at Aire Mayabe, just fast arm right through that seam, beating Purdue.
And Minnesota went to this 6-2 formula, bringing in Miyabe off the bench. She had 8 kills, 16 swings on Wednesday night in the win, 3-2 over Ohio State. Slide again, nice block on the outside by Alexis Hart.
Alexis Hart all over that ball. You need to go high off the hands or attack through that seam. The seam is there, but nice press by Hart to shut down that line attack.
Pittman once again, Minnesota back on top 17-15 as this opening set goes back and forth. Good high swing by Ellis. Look at the Minnesota block. These are the 2 best blocking teams in the Big Ten Conference, and you're getting a good look at why. Stab, but that ball cannot be saved by number 17, Blake Moeller in white, and it'll be a timeout called by Purdue. Minnesota currently ranked number 6, 10-1 in conference, 16-3 overall under Hugh McCutcheon, and Purdue currently ranked number 16. Their RPI is 20, coming off a win over Nebraska. And Dave Shondell again from there, but McMenamin has indeed done a fine job out of Niceville, Florida. Again, did not play 1 point last year.
Minnesota hitting .346 in this first set.
Back to the slide. That seems to be the go-to right now for Blake Bowler and Purdue.
And the connection is there. It starts with the first contact. Anytime you can pass that ball, why not run that high percentage play to your middle attackers?
Emma Terwilliger, defensive specialist, on now to serve out of Valparaiso, Indiana, and dials up an ace on Alexis Hart.
Hey, when you're a serving specialist, that's your job. Come in and put pressure on the other team. Nice flat float serve, just it gets away from Hart.
Missed Alexis Hart the second time through. That ball is touched. Ellis taking a high flat swing. Nice dig by McGraw. Oh, and Ellis coming over as the off blocker, a double contact, and maybe a missed opportunity once again for Purdue.
Ellis aggressive, trying to get that ball, but there was another defender there who could have played that ball.
McMenamin on to serve. Minnesota back on top by 2. Both teams passing the ball pretty nicely. Dug in the cross court by McMenamin. And Alexis Hart finding the campfire right in the middle of the defense.
And the wings are pinching in, but not enough to dig that middle ball, and Purdue needs to take that away from them.
Minnesota leading 20-17.
Purdue doing a really good job passing with just 2 passers, but they're bringing in some strong defensive specialists. Schermerhorn and Hornung right now covering a huge area of the court and serve receive.
Really effective serve, splitting those 2 receivers you were talking about, Holly. Hornung dubbed right on target. And what a play early on, getting her first start so far on the year. Ellie Huseman, the 6'3" freshman I mentioned, wearing number 16. That was an awfully nice read against Bush.
It certainly was. Good dig here and good blocking responsibility, knowing the setter's front row. Haley Bush needs to be more offensive, but you also have to see and feel where the block is and turn it away from her.
Well, and really good preparation for Minnesota. They are ready for an aggressive Haley Bush. Dug by McGraw down the line, joust coming, and tipped to the floor that time by Purdue. Madeline Koch, the 6'1" freshman, able to tip that ball to the floor away from Minnesota.
In 2012 with the...
That ball missed out of bounds badly that time by Alexis Hart.
Just a missed contact, had no top spin on the ball and just floated way long.
Going short serve, that one handled nicely by Samity. And that ball tipped right back at Minnesota. Grace Cleveland with some help from Shavana Catino, able to get a nice stuff block. And now a timeout, Holly, is called by Minnesota. Mentioned that statistically, these are the 2 best blocking teams in the Big Ten Conference. They're separated by 2 100ths, Minnesota on top.
Look at Coutinho just hanging, throwing that ball down, but I like what Purdue's doing. They're mixing up the location of their serves, throwing some short balls in there, trying to disrupt the offensive patterns of Minnesota.
Minnesota, as mentioned, Nebraska got a big win last night over Penn State, 15-13 in the 5th. Guess what? Another sellout crowd at the Devaney Center. Purdue trailing by 1, opening set. Short serve, easily handled. That's going to be a double contact, and we're tied at 21.
So you're saying Minnesota easily handles that short serve, but I feel like their offense becomes predictable, and that's a good thing for Purdue. Their blockers are camped and know where the ball's going, so it's paying off.
4-0 run for Bush and Purdue. That ball missed over the top again. Alexis Hart looking for a touch, and she got it. Wow. Wow, do you use a challenge here? That ball had no top spin whatsoever.
Shondell asked his team.
There will be no challenge. Rachel Kilkelly, outstanding freshman, will come on and serve, averaging almost 2.5 digs per set. That's a lot in part-time duty. And that's going to be a net violation. That is a break for Purdue, tied at 22.
I love the versatility for Purdue's Grace Cleveland, number 20 in white. She's hitting a quick tempo set out of the middle. High contact, one-on-one. Minnesota's making good digs, but can't transition it back.
There's a defensive specialist, Otek. Free ball for Purdue. Gotta convert here. Good touch out of the middle against the freshman, but Catino, high flyer, number 9 in white, putting that ball away.
Otek leads the conference in service aces, and she sets up that opportunity. Quick ball to Catino, who's so quick off the floor in transition. Most of this first set led by Minnesota. Purdue pulls ahead by 1 point, now all tied up.
Samity, Pittman, and Rollins up front now for Minnesota, and a shank pass. Back-to-back unforced errors. Set points now for Minnesota. Holly, that was just a gift.
It was, but I'll tell you, Minnesota is putting the pressure on from the service line. Only 2 passers for Purdue. Newton's taken just a sliver.
And that sliver's getting smaller by the minute. Misconnection, not on the same page. McMiniman left side, through the block, and Otek went left, the ball went right. And Purdue led it, but Minnesota comes right back, took advantage of a couple of miscues, go on a 3-0 run, and take the opening set on the road. Number 6 Minnesota over number 16 Purdue in the opening set. The second and third sets going to be a very, very interesting afternoon and evening and week around the country. And just underway here in the second set, Rachel Kilkelly, defensive specialist, on to serve. Good touch out of the middle. That is really nicely done. Stab by McGraw into the cross court. That ball ripped by Caitlin Newton, but it's all started. Ellie Huseman, once again, the 6'3" freshman in the lineup for Taylor Morgan, doing a really nice job initially for Minnesota, slowing things down.
Good defensive block for sure, but Purdue, Caitlin Newton, a great asset out of the middle, back row attack.
Otek on to serve once again. Neither team sided out very efficiently in the opening set. I'll give you those numbers in a moment. Back to Samity on the right side and get that ball through the hands of Newton. Minnesota sided out at only 54%. Purdue at 50%. That's too low. What would be a good number to shoot for, Holly?
Well, 70s.
70s would be good.
Right? I mean, ideally, 65 and up.
Combination play off the edge of the block away from Pittman, and Grace Cleveland registers the kill.
And that's the versatility that I talked about earlier for Purdue. Grace Cleveland, she lines up as the opposite, but attacks a lot out of the middle.
Cleveland now with 5 kills. Shavana Catino with 4. Blake Moeller has 3. Pittman is Ruth. Boy, isn't Grace Cleveland, number 20 in white, playing some of the best volleyball of her career over the last week and a half or so?
She certainly is one of the best blockers on this Purdue team. She just shuts down this attack by Pittman.
Good swing into the cross court. Nice job getting your feet to the ball by number 10, Samity.
How about that? I mean, the range of Samity, that was an out-of-system ball. She moved way in and hit that ball nice to the corner.
How would you describe the offensive philosophy of Minnesota? We were talking to head coach Hugh McCutcheon. I pointed out that they only kill the ball at 38%. And he said a whopping 38%. How would you describe their approach offensively?
Well, there's opportunities that you have to kill the ball, and there's opportunities to keep the ball in play. He has confidence in his block and his defense, so if you don't have an opportunity to kill the ball, keep the ball in play.
They're certainly one of the best defensive teams in the conference. #1 in blocking and averaging just under 17 digs per set. That's a big number. This time it is Minnesota is not on the same page. Out of the back row, and nicely done by Cleveland inside of number 20, Adana Rollins.
The 6-2 is new for Minnesota. A little bit of miscommunication on that offensive route, and Purdue capitalizes with a good transition ball.
Should be an easy opportunity, and it is for Purdue. Caitlin Newton that time off of McGraw.
Purdue appears to be more on the attack right from the beginning of this second set. Really aggressive from the service line, and then the fast transition ball out to Caitlin Newton. Powerful cross-court kill.
5-0 run now for Cleveland and Purdue. And another out-of-system opportunity or lack thereof. And a double contact is going to be called against the libero, CC McGraw, and Hugh McCutcheon has seen enough. Timeout here at Purdue with the Boilermakers leading Minnesota 7-2 in the second. After possibly missing important opportunities at the end of the opening set, I would say very positively. 7-2 is the advantage over Minnesota, and they're going to get another look. Rollins is blocked on the outside. Newton with some help from Blake Moeller.
Purdue has been so aggressive, hitting 625 in this second set. Knowing where that ball's going, I'll tell you, the service line pressure right now from Purdue. Grace Cleveland really making Minnesota work.
Mayabe just wristing that ball in play. Nice layout by the libero McGraw. And wide open down the line. Very smart swing by Caitlin Newton, who now has 5 kills on 8 swings.
And how about Haley Bush? She locates this ball perfectly for Newton to attack what she likes to attack, that deep line with power.
Setter Tamara DeLonga, wearing #1, up underneath the block, left the line wide open. Good read by Bush. Timing not there. I know Purdue has what is, at least early on in this second set, a comfortable lead at now 9-3. Can't make these kind of mistakes.
Transition connection is not there between Bush and Moeller. Unfortunate break for Purdue.
Looked like there was a little confusion as to who that set was intended for. Was it to Moeller or was it to Cleveland? Nice play on the slide and well defended by Alexis Hart. And Mayabe, #8 in maroon, misses that swing.
You're right, that last play, I think Moeller, who was the front row attacker, thought it was going to the back row.
16, Madeline Cook. Serving 4, Caitlin Newton.
Alexis Hart again. Not a lot of topspin on this Sunday afternoon,
no,
but finding a piece of the block and the defender.
Exactly. As long as you get a touch, it's okay. But ideally, you want topspin off your hand as an attacker.
Backspin not recommended.
Not recommended.
There is middle blocker Pittman. Purdue got out to the 5-2, 7-2 advantage, and now are on top 10-4. Pretty good one-on-one touch, but another kill off the left side. Number 16, Madeline Cope, getting some nice playing time off the left side.
One-on-one isolation. Credit Haley Bush. Doing a good job pushing that ball out to the pin with some pace.
Points, Minnesota.
Purdue trying to disrupt the offense with that short middle serve, not clearing the net.
Serve 13, Bailey McMenamin.
Minnesota going in and out of the 5-1 into the 6-2. Meabe going to the sideline. McMenamin back on the floor. Slide off of Alexis Hart, one-on-one. Hart was there. I'm really impressed with Coutinho. She is really high flying. Reminds me of her older sister Danielle.
Exactly. High flyer, very dynamic. Pulling that block one-on-one.
Just playing with a lot of confidence. The way she's carrying herself become much more of a factor for Purdue. Hart rolling over the top, net violation. That is a good smart shot by number 19, Alexis Hart, 6-foot senior out of Kansas City. Second team All Big Ten last year, as well as an honorable mention All-American. 6 of the 7 starters, including the libero, came back for this Minnesota team. The only loss was a very big one. All-American setter Samantha Seliger-Swenson, and then Minnesota has had problems with injuries at that position. They're still 16-3. Nice block. What a good read once again. Coutinho is playing a brilliant match so far. Number 9 in white.
Look at the throwdown, and then the dig, the one-arm stab, bodies flying for Purdue. Grace Cleveland, a huge block on the outside, but Coutinho closing it up, comes up with the block.
Coutinho 5 of 9, also a couple of stuffs, scoring points for Purdue. Samedi through a seam, nice dig in the middle, back by Otek. Free ball for Purdue, already leading by 7. Oh, what a block. They moved Grace Cleveland around a lot, but that time Adonna Rollins knew exactly where number 20 was coming from.
Adonna Rollins, quick hands over the net, and that is key to stopping that attack. Quick hands, no room for the hitter to attack.
They're hybrid serves and then they're hybrid attackers, which seems that Grace Cleveland is. Dave Shondell really moves her around and plays with different tempos, as evidenced by that. It's going to be a net violation either on Rollins or Pittman. Give the point to number 20, Cleveland. Cleveland now with 7 kills on 15 swings. Purdue leading at 14-7 here in the second set.
I think these days in volleyball, players become so locked into, I'm a left side hitter. But Cleveland showing the versatility pays off, and she gets attacks out of the middle as well.
And hits different rhythms. She's hitting a straight back slide and hitting some combination plays. If you're just joining us, Purdue led 23-22. Minnesota went on a 3-0 run. Purdue got that lead, and thanks in large part to Grace Cleveland, but Minnesota won the opening set 25-23.
Already 7 kills on 14 attacks, hitting .357. Her offensive numbers have been off the charts for Purdue.
Your computer must be a little bit fast stretch over the last couple of weekends in the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and also around the country. Coming out of the timeout. Ace serve! What a nice play. Marissa Hornung, the 5'7" sophomore out of New Albany, Indiana.
They call her Mo, and look at her pop this ball. Just drops right out. The bottom drops out of it for the ace in the middle for Purdue.
Quickly to the outside, Rollins, dug by Hornung, right on target. And that ball stuffed. Nice play by Samedi, hanging number 10 in maroon.
Well, great eye work. Yeah, she watched the hitter and finished the play. Sees what's going on, little swap back, and stays in bounds for Minnesota.
Still plenty of time for the aforementioned Golden Gophers. Samedi back at the line. She is available out of the back row for sure. Boy, Purdue, talk to me about Purdue's first contact in their serve receive.
I think it's been spectacular. Minnesota's been able to get them a couple times, but using 2 passers, Purdue's defensive specialists are just taking control of that first contact. Otek and Hornung have been really good today.
They've gone back and forth between DS and libero. Hornung now the starter, and Otek playing the DS. That's a quality contact. And what a stab down the line by McGraw. through the block and down. Caitlin Newton registers the kill. 17-8 is the lead.
Purdue is staying in system. That first contact is everything, and the fast ball puts so much pressure on the middle blockers for Minnesota to get out there and close.
Dave Shondell talked about an important week in block of training, which you often don't get during a very busy conference season. Nice play by Pittman, but Coach Shondell talked about not necessarily going back to basics, but really having some time to get back in the gym, work on cleaning things up, working on and getting in repetitions. And that's shown itself particularly in their serve receive.
I agree, and that work in the gym really took place before the Nebraska match. They had 3 days in the gym and were able to really capitalize on it.
Minnesota thought that that ball was long, right down your sideline, Holly.
I absolutely saw it in the corner.
Okay. Okay.
Coffin corner.
We're thinking about a challenge, so now it's a nice balance. That was on the side of Minnesota in the opening set, and now Newton, Cleveland, Coutinho, Moeller all doing a very nice job offensively for Purdue. 18-9 is the lead. Newton back to serve. Pittman again finding a seam.
Reagan Pittman is impressive. I know she's the defensive player of the week, but her offensive connection with the setter right now is really good.
Along with a couple of her teammates, Reagan Pittman had some time training with the U.S. national team under the auspices of Coach Kirai out in Anaheim. Pretty important and meaningful experience.
For sure.
Minnesota has been all over the second contact from Haley Bush, the setter for Purdue.
But what they're doing is they're taking away this straight ahead dump right to the middle of the court, so you can go up over the block or you have to turn it backwards, back behind you.
Purdue has done a really good job in this second set on their side of the net and also limiting Minnesota to any kind of sizable run. Good pass again. Newton out of the back row, dug by Pittman. Nice play by the middle blocker. And then misses the ball into the net. After a really good dig by number 21 in maroon, could not keep that ball in play.
Missed opportunity for Minnesota, and Purdue is just rolling, gaining more confidence as this match goes along.
Right side, Miyabe is blocked.
Purdue doing such a nice job defensively, watching what Minnesota's running. The eye work, quick close by Coutinho. Purdue all over it.
Good work by the freshman number 16, Koch, as well. Alexis Hart right over the top of the block and down, working against a 5'10" setter, Haley Bush.
Minnesota's substitutions. 10-70-70.
Hart was 8 kills on 10 swings, hitting 600, and she's matched up against one of the smaller blockers for Purdue. You want to use and take advantage of that matchup.
There is McMenamin. Dug by Rollins, but can Rollins get a good swing on it? Not quite. Back row combination, nice read by Samity. And again, nice rip.
If you compare the quality of the first contact for Minnesota to the quality of the first contact for Purdue, it's no contest. Purdue is controlling the ball. Minnesota has not been able to dig the ball in good positions to attack back at Purdue.
Short serve, to your point, Holly McPeak. Looks easy, but it's disruptive.
I agree, it disrupts things and people can't run their routes because somebody needs to make a play on that ball. But Purdue's mixing it up. They're going tough, deep, short. Not doing the same thing every play.
Through a small seam in the block. Samity able to put that ball away. 22-13. A very comfortable lead as Kilkelly, defensive specialist, will come on and serve. Remember the reveal of the NCAA Volleyball Committee's top 10 coming up in between the second and third sets. Nice tap down. Good reaction out of the middle by Cleveland.
Grace Cleveland in the middle to run an offensive play, heads up, sees it pop over and throws it down. Very aggressive play. And then Coutinho made a nice pass off the net dribbler. Serve.
Otek back to serve. For the match, Purdue is hitting 279. Minnesota only 203. It's a nice touch off the block, but it'll be nullified by a net violation against Coutinho.
Minnesota hitting 107 in the second set compared to 333 for Purdue.
Well, right now, Purdue is outplaying Minnesota in almost every phase of the game, and especially in their ball control. Here's McGraw. Cleveland unloading. Boy, that's a little throwback, a little slick in the middle. That's slow, quick.
Yeah, I like it. Grace Cleveland has the range to hit either way. She really likes that wrist away towards the left back for Minnesota.
10 set points for Purdue. Another out-of-system swing. Rollins going high hands, and nicely done. Deep into the cross-court corner for Adana Rollins, wearing number 20 out of Carrollton, Texas.
Minnesota consistently out of system in this second set. That was a bump set, but Adana Rollins, good decision to go high and deep to that corner.
Another set point. Samity, 6 kills, but 17 swings to get there. And for Rollins, 5 kills, also 17 swings. They've been fairly well controlled so far by the block and defense of Purdue. Nice smart shot up into the block. Nicely done by Reagan Pittman, number 21 in maroon, the middle blocker. Shown some wheels at the defensive end and some nice hands here, setting the ball to the outside. Third set point. Watch the slide off a good pass. Setter in front, and that ball does go down.
Grace Cleveland.
Missouri, very experienced at both the libero and the defensive specialist position, played all 33 matches last year, and we're underway. Minnesota staying in their 6-2. Got the freshman setter along with Mayabe there as well. Nice swing into the cross court. Aire Mayabe out of Osaka, Japan, a transfer from College of Southern Idaho.
In Minnesota running that 6-2 offense with Aire Mayabe and Tamara Delonga, the freshman setter from Croatia.
What do you think Minnesota talked about in the locker room with head coach Hugh McCutcheon after going down 25-16?
Well, it's all about the first contact. They were out of system the entire second set, so they need to clean up their passing for sure, and then be a little bit more aggressive offensively. I felt like they were a little bit too timid, not aggressive enough.
Samity, 6 kills on 17 swings. Rollins, 6 kills on 18 swings, to your point. Holly McPeak, Reagan Pittman, nicely done on the wrist away, working against Blake Moeller in the middle, number 17 in white for Purdue.
Ellie Huseman doing a good job, number 16 in the middle for Minnesota, stepping in and providing some offense and some strong defensive block touches.
Through the first couple of sets, Purdue out-hit Minnesota 292 to 239, led by Grace Cleveland, continuing her hot run, 10 kills on 18 swings, and right on cue, tipping over the top. Alexis Hart finding that area in the middle of the court once again. That's not by accident. That's something that's trained day after day.
Well, the defenders are on the perimeter, and so that's a great area to attack. But if a team's doing that to you consistently, you need to have a designated player be responsible for that dig.
Bush taking the first contact, Horning. And that ball tipped over the top. McMenamin is there to keep it alive for Minnesota. C. McGraw right on target. This is Minnesota's game. Long rally, wear you down, and usually their ball control will get them ahead of the point, and they'll get a higher quality swing. That was vintage Minnesota volleyball.
And it paid off in that case, but in the second set, it was all Purdue attacking Minnesota.
Ellie Huseman, number 16 in maroon, is really doing a good job reading. Ace serve down the line for Minnesota, and Purdue might need an early timeout.
Minnesota's being aggressive against the two-person serve receive, and you need to do that because these are great passers for Purdue.
Well, whatever was talked about in the Minnesota locker room, the message was right on target. Good start in the third. Returning All-American surrounding freshman Ellie Huseman, number 16. Yep, communicating, teaching, but Huseman has done a very nice job. And Hugh McCutcheon before the match, you asked Coach McCutcheon why he inserted Huseman into the lineup. She's very steady. She's already shown that she really knows how to play the game, as does Grace Cleveland, coming through with her 11th kill.
And Grace Cleveland's going wrist away every time. That time goes the other direction. What a weapon for Purdue.
Hitting .470 over the last 3 Big Ten matches is Cleveland. Nice serve down the line, and that dials up the ace, working on Alexis Hart.
Grace Cleveland, number 20 in white, has been putting a lot of pop on her serve. That time, good location. A crowd of Minnesota players right down the line.
Good serve again. Alexis Hart one-on-one. And once again, maybe that's just Alexis Hart. I've seen her play several times during her very distinguished career, but not a lot of good wrist snap and topspin so far in the afternoon.
It's been working for her.
Absolutely.
Hard to track that, right?
Yeah, well, look at her numbers. She should do it even more. Alexis Hart, 11 of 15. Just spray it around, Alexis.
Blake Moeller, number 17 in white, establishing her offense again out of the middle. Good off one foot. Minnesota needs to be a little bit more disciplined on their left side block and get their hands over the net quickly.
Newton serves that ball just out of bounds. You know, Alexis Hart, with the ascension of the sophomore Donna Rollins and the star play of Stephanie Samity, maybe it gets forgotten just a little bit, but among them, she's averaging 3 kills, getting back to your point of balance, Holly McPeak, and hitting .261. And her numbers compared to last year are very much the same, whereas Samity's and Rollins's are down. Moeller, that missed that one badly. That was well wide on the slide. One of the first slides that had not been connected nicely for Purdue.
Well, the location of that set wasn't as wide, and it didn't allow Moeller to go off the outside hands of the blocker.
Both teams working hard at the defensive end. Minnesota now with 30 digs, 26 for Purdue. That ball passed too tight. Bush couldn't get to it. That ball set too tight. Not a ball handling clinic is this rally. Newton off the top of the tape, and that's going to be a 3-meter line violation once again for number 4 in white.
Ball set a little too far in front of the 3-meter line. I like the option. The blockers were moving out to the pins, and that was available if it was a clean attack.
Both of these teams have been handling the ball pretty well, particularly Purdue. Minnesota coming back nicely here in the third. That last rally was not a good example. That ball, another, missed out of bounds by Koch. Well, it was a big lead throughout for Purdue in the second set, and now Minnesota has certainly turned the tables. A 4-0 run as Minnesota leads Purdue 10-4, tied at a set apiece. Big opportunity for Purdue. 16 in the coaches poll, 20 in the RPI. Minnesota number 6 in the coaches poll, but down at number 11 in the RPI. That ball nicely over the top of the block. I want to go back to the reveal, and the Stanford Cardinal still in the top 4. If Catherine Plummer, who's been injured now for the last 5 weeks, she's missing her 10th straight match today, do they stay there?
You know, to have peripheral vision if your back is not to the net, if you're more perpendicular. It allows you, one, to be more offensive, and as a setter, I remember, you need to know what's going on in terms of the other team's blockers.
Well, and that was a perfect example because in-system pass, and then Bush set the ball on the slide right in front of both blockers there from Minnesota.
Correct.
Break for Purdue as they get that ball to trickle down inside. No trickling there from Adana Rollins. Rollins averaging 2.4 kills, hitting .206. And mentioned, Holly, that her numbers are down from last year. Last year, Rollins hit .250, and now at .207, as I just mentioned, on the season. That's a pretty big drop, evidenced by losing Triple S, Samantha Seliger-Swenson.
Getting used to a new setter and then another new setter, and, you know, just finding a rhythm with your setter is so important.
A serve, and Minnesota continues to roll. Boy, what a complete turnaround. It was Purdue rolling through the Golden Gophers 25-16 in the second.
It's all about the response.
On the slide again, Coutinho, nicely done. Look, we've got Minnesota right in front of us. What do they have to do to get among the top four and then host once again?
Well, Minnesota has the challenging conference play ahead of them. They need to continue to get better. With or without Kylie Miller, they need to figure it out. I think they can be more aggressive offensively. They need to side out at a higher clip, but they've got the weapons and balance offensively to really go far.
Nice play by Coutinho. I think Minnesota has to win out, which is no easy task in the Big Ten Conference. If they beat Wisconsin, Michigan can be a tough team. Look, okay, if they win out, look, I'm not crunching the numbers, but you'd have to think that they would at least get back in for consideration, but there are just so many other moving parts. Baylor and Texas play again in Waco on November 20th. That ball nicely done by Miyabe off the edge of the block and down.
Irene Miyabe, number 5 for her in kills. She's been a bright spot on the right side in this new 6-2 offense.
Had a very productive match. Recent win in 5 sets, 17-15 in the 5th against Ohio State earlier in the week for Minnesota. Miyabe was 8 of 16 with only 1 error. Combination play, nice cover by Hart, but right into the line of sight of Caitlin Newton, number 4 and white, able to put the ball away. 17-9 lead for Minnesota.
Little short shot by Grace Cleveland. We've seen power both ways, but that time the finesse shot sets up Caitlin Newton for the kill.
8th kill now for Newton. Pretty good balance by both of these teams. Newton was right there on the off speed, but could not control it. A miscue by number 4.
Well, Purdue's making that adjustment, putting a player on that particular ball. Now she just needs to take care of it.
18-9 advantage. People always, they go, gosh, Paul, I hope this match goes 5. I don't care how many sets. I just want them all close. And we have not had that over the last half hour or so. Nice play by Cleveland, registering her 12th kill.
Well, you want to see high-level volleyball and nice execution. I mean, 5 is exciting, but
5 is long.
Yeah, 5 is long.
5 is fine as long as they're all deuce sets. That's all I care about. Here is Cleveland. Newton again, high, hard swing, that time off of Huseman and out of bounds. And Purdue, a little bit of a mini run.
Both teams working hard on hitter coverage. When the other team is doing so well blocking, you need to be ready to cover those balls and get another opportunity.
Working on Rollins, and to good effect. Cleveland missed it out of bounds, down the line.
Cleveland out of the backcourt trying to tag that line, but the ball was set a little bit inside and just carried it wide.
We're talking about Minnesota and what they would probably need to do or must do in order to get a top 4 seed as they did last year. And for Purdue, they're trying to get another quality win. Speaking of quality, nice shot off the left side for Newton, but Holly, they want to get into that top 16. Dave Shondell saying, I want to bring a couple teams into Holloway Gym where it's sold out again, 2,415.
What a great place to play. And yes, of course you want to host here. This is tough place for anybody to have to come first and second round.
Nice swing into the cross court. Let's take a look at Purdue's upcoming schedule, and it is never easy, but look at this opportunity at Penn State. Of course, that's a tough one, but there are a lot of winnable matches right there. Purdue currently 7-4 in the Big Ten, and they have won 4 in a row, but I think this one, sort of this part of the schedule, is by far the most important. Free ball to Minnesota, looking to continue to extend their lead. McMenamin setting the ball a little bit low, and Newton finding a seam in the block. Nice swing out of the back row. There was a net violation, Holly, against Minnesota in any case.
Caitlin Newton is a great option in transition out of the middle for Purdue. That was her first successful attempt.
It's a very versatile offense for Dave Shondell and Purdue. They move the ball around really a lot. Good touch on the outside by Rollins on the slide. Dig, overpass. Maddie Schermerhorn almost got her head taken off that time by Reagan Pittman the second time through.
Maddie Schermerhorn sitting on the line, and then the overdig gets a second crack at it, but Pittman, too much heat for Minnesota.
21-13. There is a lot of time left in this set, not for Purdue necessarily to come back and win it, but for them to smooth out, find some side out rhythm and get themselves ready for set number 4. Ayabe again. Minnesota perfectly willing to just keep balls in play. As are Purdue, a lot of half-speed shots going on in this rally. Nothing half-speed about that. Nice play by Koch.
In the middle of the rally, Reagan Pittman from Minnesota, the middle blocker, was running. She set 2 transition balls with her hands. Really nice hands.
She's shown some skills defensively as well. Again, spent time with her teammates Cece McGraw, Stephanie Samity, and Adana Rollins, training and playing for Team USA at various competitions throughout the summer. Wonderful experience. Nice play one-on-one. Really beautiful delivery.
The isolation so important, and then the good swing on the left side. Look at Coutinho, she leans the other way, and then Rollins, big advantage. Even though Cleveland's there, Hitter has the advantage one-on-one.
We talked a lot about number 16, the middle blocker Huseman, but the other number 1, Tamara Delonga, half of this 6-2 formation deployed by Minnesota, has been doing really a solid job. The freshman out of Croatia.
Minnesota's been doing a good job from the service line in this third set, really turned the tables, putting Purdue out of system. We've been seeing a lot of bump sets from Bush.
Purdue hitting only 129 so far in the third, as opposed to Minnesota's 458. Good looking offensive play in Cleveland, high up off the hands and out of bounds. A really good quality swing by number 20.
Grace Cleveland does a really nice job managing her offense. We've seen all sorts of smart plays offensively by her.
Cleveland now with a dozen kills on 23 swings and very low error. Newton easily dug off speed. Nice play by McGraw, and another perfect set by Pittman. Along the freshman setter, there was a touch off the top of the block. Cleveland now with 13 kills.
And that's another good decision by Grace Cleveland. That ball was set inside. She couldn't hit it down, but she could hit it flat and get a touch on the Minnesota block.
Purdue looking to recapture some rhythm and confidence, particularly in serve receive, which they certainly displayed through the first couple of sets. Nice play. Delonga, the freshman, couldn't track down that errant pass.
Jenna
And just like Tom Brady, I mean, players getting up into there and beyond their 40s that are just the epitome of professionalism and taking care of every single detail. And obviously he's been very, very generous here with his alma mater. Just underway fourth set. Tight opening set after that. It has been a blowout in one direction and then the other. Perfect pass by McGraw. Mayabi didn't do an awful lot with that, but just enough to put it away. Well, I asked you after the second set, what would Hugh McCutcheon have said to his Minnesota team after they went down 25-16? Now go over to Dave Shondell.
It's amazing. Do what you did the second set. Handle that first contact and get those offensive numbers up. I feel like the serving was great for Purdue in the second set, and then Minnesota took over that category in the third set, and that's putting their team at an advantage.
Long opening rally and a nice block once again. Ellie Huseman, exactly as advertised by her head coach Hugh McCutcheon.
You're right, just steady, doing her job, making good reads defensively.
Give you the leading scorers after this particular point. Reagan Pittman has been solid as well. Playing in tandem, a shank pass here to your point, Holly McPeak. Purdue not taking care of the ball, just underway here in the fourth. And that ball missed out of bounds. Huseman has had very few opportunities. Cleveland leading the way with 14 kills, followed by Caitlin Newton. Shavonna Coutinho, who was hot early, been quiet over the last set and a half or so with 7 kills. And really good balance. Alexis Hart having a magnificent afternoon, 13 kills. Adana Rollins with 10. Mayabe off the bench with 7 after getting 8 against Ohio State on Wednesday night. Stephanie Samity, as Dave Shondell told us, in spite of the fact that his Boilermakers lost 3-0 in Minneapolis, they did a pretty good job of controlling Samity, and they're doing the same today, but Alexis Hart is picking up any slack, if any.
Well, Hugh McCutcheon is challenging that last play that there was a touch on the block, but you're right, I feel like when Minnesota's out of system, Samity's not as effective. Here you see Coutinho diving into it. The ball doesn't seem to change directions. Let's look at finger movement. I do not see that ball close enough to the fingers of Coutinho.
Memory serves, this is our first challenge so far on the afternoon. Means the officials are doing a good job. Challenge a touch or ball in and out. Familiar with Kylie Miller. You trained with her. You saw her play at UCLA. What kind of difference can she make should she be able to get back on the floor?
Well, Kylie Miller is a fantastic, dynamic athlete. She jumps well, she can block. You know, they would run a 5-1 most likely around her if she can get healthy. But right now, Minnesota is making do with the players that they have healthy, and Bailey McMenamin running most of the show.
Well, at the beginning of the season, when Kylie Miller was in the starting lineup, that's when Minnesota beat Florida, won at Oregon, and beat Stanford as well. That one was on a neutral site. Remember, McMenamin did not play 1 point all last year. And the other setter, Tamara Delonga, is just a freshman out of Croatia. Nice swing by Rollins. Rollins now on double figures with 10 kills on 26 swings. Give you Samity's 6 of 18. Again, they have controlled her pretty nicely. Blake Moeller, kind of the way this match started about an hour and a half ago with Purdue looking so good on the slide.
Well, the location of the set allows Moeller to attack that seam. The ball needs to be wide enough that she can either go line or cut back and attack between the two Minnesota blockers.
Pretty good set to Rollins, snapping over the top of the block and down. We talked a lot about Minnesota, what they have to do going forward, hypothetically, and the quality wins, particularly the one over Stanford. But Purdue won at Kentucky and beat Nebraska here just last week, and they have won 4 in a row. Here's the libero McGraw. Moeller again missed it out of bounds, looking for a touch, but none detected. And now a little bit of separation. First of the fourth set, with Minnesota leading at 7-5. Moeller got off to a good start, but now 4 of 13 and 3 hitting errors after that ball was missed out of bounds. CeCe McGraw thought that ball had dropped enough to register an ace. She says, come on, coach, give me a challenge.
He's thinking about it.
Minnesota has 2 challenges remaining, and we're going to challenge ball in or out.
Look at the ball, almost no spin on the ball. That's what you want. Good float serve. Could catch the back line.
We will show you as many angles as we possibly can. The official going to have to try to decipher whether that ball caught a piece of the line or not.
Either way.
Good music for a challenge,
right?
Though. Good music.
Let it be. Well, the Purdue fans wanted to let it be because it was called out. Ooh, that's a good angle. Nice camera work. Looked like it just missed long.
Well, based on that replay and the freeze frame right there, that looks like the ball is out. Now, once again, it's got to be 100%. And the Terwilliger 5'5" sophomore out of Valparaiso only played 8 matches last year, but importantly, into serve. That was too easy. Right to Kilkelly. And Adana Rollins getting in a nice rhythm. Adana Rollins looks really good out on the left side.
And when Minnesota is able to stay in system and get that fastball, good location, Adana Rollins elevates. Look how high she is. Block a little bit late. Nice attack for Minnesota.
Now tied with teammate Alexis Hart for the Minnesota lead with 13 kills. Grace Cleveland has 14. Nice read by McGraw. A little confusion just kept alive by Miyabe. And oh wow, right on the end line. And Hugh McCutcheon is going to challenge again. He was sitting right there and said that ball was out of bounds.
From our angle, it looked in.
Well, we're going to have a challenge, and this is the 3rd challenge. So the only way Minnesota will have an additional challenge is if this match goes 5 sets. But you know, you'd rather have it be over in 4.
True, and all 3 have gone in this set. Ooh. And in this ball, look at the lines person, eyes on the line.
Yeah, I don't think Hugh McCutcheon is going to be a happy coach.
I don't think so either. Have 3 challenges been in the first 15 points?
And this ball, again, was called in. And so here comes the decision.
Will it be let it be or something else?
Well, I'm surprised we haven't heard
I know, me too.
And a big difference between international volleyball and collegiate volleyball. Internationally, if your challenge is upheld, you keep it. So you hypothetically have an unlimited number of challenges. I think they need to find a little bit of a middle ground in college volleyball. Yeah, if an official, look, players make mistakes, officials make mistakes. If they miss a call and the challenge shows that it was a missed call, because you're penalized for using your challenge to correct an official's mistake. I think you should be able to keep it. There's some middle ground.
I agree. There could.
So the call will stand, and Minnesota is out of challenges. Minnesota leading 8-7. If you're just joining us, Minnesota won the opening set 25-23 after trailing 23-22. And then it was Purdue easily over Minnesota 25-16, and then Minnesota returning the favor 25-17. Talonga is back on outside to Rollins again. Adana Rollins has got the hot hand.
I'll tell you, Reagan Pittman, number 21 in burgundy or maroon, is doing a good job. She stepped into the middle, took that short serve. Like her leadership, calling for the ball. She was on the right pin during that rally. Talking to all her young players on the court.
Shoved to the outside, and that's going to be a net violation. Unforced error on the perimeter, and Minnesota now leading 10-7.
A little bit of a broad jump coming under the net and the net violation. That's dangerous.
That's a dangerous play. That sent chills up my spine. Got a couple of big scars on my ankles.
Ouch.
To prove that one.
Yeah.
McGraw, out of system swing. Meabe softly up into the hands of Purdue. Alexis hard off the top of the tape and out of bounds. A very rare hitting error for number 19 in maroon for Minnesota. Now it's 10-9. Continuing to work on Rollins. And a good block. Grace Cleveland along with Coutinho on the outside. 3-0 run for Purdue.
Grace Cleveland lined up on that ball, and there was no getting by her. Look at the hand penetration over the net. Really nice press defensively.
Tied at 10. Boy, that ball really moved a lot. Unusual broadcast position here at Holloway Gymnasium, and I like it. We're sitting in the end zone. That ball was headed for Adana Rollins, and it took a hard right turn.
It is fun to see the trajectory of the different serves.
Nice building, nice facility for volleyball. Packed once again, good fans here at Purdue and throughout the Big Ten. You could see the left side blocker, Alexis Hart, bailing to cover Coutinho. That left a lot of room for Cleveland. 12-11 is the advantage. Bailey McMiniman out of Niceville, Florida. Made the first start. Remember, did not play 1 point all last season. And made her first start of her career against the same Purdue team back in September. Opening weekend of Big Ten play. That was won by Minnesota 3-0. Alexis Hart tipping that ball to the floor, and now the lead is back up to 2.
That time Minnesota had 2 blockers in front of Grace Cleveland and got a nice defensive touch.
Good swing down the line, stabbed that time by McMiniman, but just over the sideline. A much needed side out score for Purdue.
And Haley Bush puts her hitter Newton in a perfect position. This ball passed a little bit left, and then the turn down the line. Newton really good with power down the line.
Dave Shondell was high in his praise once again for his setter Haley Bush. The way she played again. Oh, nice block. High in praise that time for Blake Moeller, but back to Haley Bush, wearing number 2 in white, the 5'10" redshirt sophomore. Let's take another look at this block. Beautifully done.
Blake Moeller closing that seam. Really nice high press.
Continually working on Rollins. Lots of service pressure on number 10, but Alexis Hart. Back to Haley Bush. Dave Shondell in his press conference, really a lot of praise for his redshirt sophomore setter, and what a wonderful job she did during this winning streak and how she's improving and working with her hitters.
But he continues to want to push her to get better. She's a fantastic athlete, does a good job leading this team, but there's areas that she can improve, and that's his job.
Good cover by Minnesota, bailing out Samity. And by McGraw. Rollins working one-on-one that time against Moeller. Samity playing it safe. Long momentum rally. Rollins. Samity again going at about 40%, but somehow gets that ball in between the Purdue blockers. We'll step aside. We've come to the media timeout. 4th set. Minnesota on top of Purdue. 15-13, but more importantly up 2-1. CC McGraw in a really good spot. Samity that time put the hammer down and paid the price.
Caitlin Newton, number 4 in white, just seals that line. Nowhere for Samity to go. She's trying to turn that line, but the left hand of Caitlin Newton, big press over the net for Purdue.
One quick follow-up on the top 10 before we move farther along. If Baylor loses again to Texas, do they drop out of the top 4?
In my opinion, or the committee's?
I'm asking you.
Well, for me, then it's the eye test, because it's still a team that's ranked above you. So usually you're not going to drop, but then it becomes the eye test. Do they look like one of the top 4 teams in the country?
And after they lost to Texas, they hung on to their #1 RPI. So as we talked about with the committee, and thank them again for all of their time this morning, a lot TBD, to be determined, and a lot to be determined in the outcome of this match. Nice swing by Cleveland on the crossbody.
Well, this is the closest back and forth of all the sets so far. Purdue just down by 1.
We've lost our stats computer, so I apologize for not keeping you more up to date on kill leaders like Grace Cleveland. Nice set to Samity. Rip out of the backcourt, dug by McMenamin. Purdue looking for the tie. Koch going over 3 blockers and away from McMenamin. Really nice choice by number 16, the freshman.
In being available in transition, she had a triple block. That short tip goes down for Purdue.
Including this afternoon, she's been really good in getting some help. You talked about the wings from number 4, Caitlin Newton.
Caitlin Newton is a physical talent. She is young, got great range, and she's been helpful out of the back row attack when they needed her, and that balances out and opens things up for Grace Cleveland on the right pin. But the middle attacks from Grace Cleveland have been very successful.
16-3, 10-1, their only loss to Wisconsin. Excuse me, Holly.
In that depth is so important. You see all the injuries across the country. To have depth and talented depth on your bench is a good asset in case there are injuries you have to deal with.
Basketball season's about to start. Wow. Out of the afternoon sky, 6'5" Reagan Pittman swatting this one down.
Do not go tentative when Reagan Pittman's at the net patrolling. She is owning it.
Samity back to serve. Why do you think, to describe it, that she's struggling so far in the afternoon?
Well, she's got a ton of balls out of system, and that allows the defense for Purdue to set up. They know, I mean, every team tries to focus on one player and slow him down, and they focus on Samity. They're playing defense to slow her down, and it's paid off. They're making the rest of the Minnesota players try and beat them.
Alexis Hart with 17 kills, just got a hard copy of the stats. Rollins with 14. Samity 8 of 24. But you know what the job is of the opposite? Take out the trash. Got to take out the trash. Oh, again. First, the one-handed slam dunk, and now with 2. Pittman patrolling down the timeout called by Purdue.
You cannot go up tentative against Reagan Pittman at 6'5". She is really aggressive with her hands. Good eye work, seeing what the hitter's doing and throwing it back.
What does Coach Kirai call it? Weak sauce and strong sauce? That was some weak sauce.
That was weak sauce, and Pittman says, get out of my kitchen, and throws it down.
Want to send some love out to our colleague, Coach Kirai, and the USA Olympic team head coach. Underwent hip replacement surgery on Friday. He texted me, he said he's just feeling great and ready to get back in the broadcast booth and get back. Well, Stephanie Samity may be having a quiet afternoon, and as you pointed out, Holly, the Boilermaker game plan to slow them down. Well, Alexis has been the heart of the attack so far for Minnesota.
17 kills already, and she started with a bunch of balls that didn't have topspin, but she's really heated up. Seen her attacking that middle vulnerable spot against Purdue, and some power down the line. And then Adana Rollins, 14 kills, and she's been out of system a lot, but making good decisions, finding the open court, winning the one-on-one battle, and then the down-the-line kill with the block and defense there. That's why you need balance. If one player is having a slow match or a slower match like Samity with only 8 kills, Rollins with 14, Hart with 17. They pick up the slack.
So number 10, the returning All-American, Stephanie Samity out of Florida, will go back to serve. 19-17, the advantage for Minnesota, leading 2-1. Nice block. Pittman along with Mayabe on the outside. 4-0 run now for Minnesota.
Jenna Otex is a defensive specialist stuck in the front row right now for Purdue.
They may be out of subs at 20-17.
They could be.
15 subs allowed in college volleyball, only 6 allowed internationally. A decidedly different looking game. The defensive specialists are so vitally important to college volleyball. Nice block again by Minnesota, and now the largest lead of the set.
Newton's available in the back row, but Coutinho and Otek, the only front row hitters. Haley Bush, the setter, is also in the front row and can attack.
And Minnesota well aware. Nice play by Samity. Rollins working off Newton. Good crossbody swing by number 4 in white, Caitlin Newton.
And in transition, able to use her in the back row when they're down a hitter in the front. What a nice tool. Newton going hard at the right back defender, Samity.
This Purdue team has got a lot of weapons. Some opportunities that they have not taken advantage of. That's certainly the case in the opening set. And an opportunity here as the serve is missed. And now Minnesota just 3 points away.
And if you're Purdue, you need to make that serve with limited hitter options in the front row.
And you remember the service error by Otek in the opening set, same scenario.
Combinations of things can happen, so you can't take a night off.
There are no nights off
Absolutely.
in the Big Ten.
Especially, well, yeah, especially on the end when you're trying to establish those high seeds in the tournament.
Donna Rollins along with Alexis Hart have been spectacular. Good all-around volleyball match for Reagan Pittman. Cleveland off the edge of the block and down. 23-19.
And now Otek out of the front row. Cleveland and Newton back in the front row with Coutinho. This is a strong lineup right here for Purdue.
Rollins stepping in. Oh, what a swing by Alexis Hart. Wow, that was spectacular off the left side.
In Donna Rollins, number 20, beautiful hand set from deep in the court. And then Hart, wonderful job getting her feet there and just crushing it in the cross court.
Good match, quality match in the conference, and a big win for Minnesota. Again, playing not only shorthanded at the setting position, but learning after Wednesday night that they would be without one of their star middle blockers, Taylor Morgan. That is a really solid performance. And that'll do it. Minnesota wins it.
Purdue making 2